This is the first programming stream of 2024 on the channel. I'm getting back into the swing of things. A little disorganized, but we gotta get back to programming streams eventually. Today's as good a day as any. I wasn't sure what to work on. I kind of need to look at the state of all projects and all the OS components and inspect everything after a few days away. But something I want to do today is look into notifications from the build system. Mishra's Masterpiece, welcome in. Wow, 10 months. Thank you so much, Mishra's, for the resub. I really appreciate it. Gotta go to the store. All good. All good. We'll be here at least every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be here. Hope you have a good time at work. So I'll explain where we are, and we'll kind of go from there. We got this mighty fine build system. When we push a commit to the hosted Git server that I have, it doesn't build. These builds are failing. Ideally, they're going to be successful. But it does everything that happens locally when we do local builds during development. This is Hydra. Provides some of the same features from other build systems like Jenkins build and CI systems. Whatever you want to call them for this purpose. What I have in mind when I say that right now is something that builds the software, provides status when changes are made. But Hydra is one of those, and I use NixOS as my workstation OS. Use it for most of my servers at this point too, actually. And I use Nix to package all the software that I work on. Hydra is based on Nix, so it makes sense to use Hydra if Hydra works out for us. So we're doing an evaluation. So far, Hydra's pretty good. It's based on, well, you can use Nix packages or Nix flakes. So most of the operating system that I work on is built from Nix flakes. And that's something that we might go into in another stream or another video. Hydra's the bad guy. If you ask G.I. Joe, it's true. Hydra's a mythological creature, right? The multi-headed snake. Chop off one head and two grow back. The embodiment of a task that can never be finished. So right now Hydra will build and give us a status. We want this for a few reasons. The ultimate goal here is to be able to run automated tests with every change and not have to do that on the local system. If we ever get other contributors, then we want one place to make sure that everyone's contributions don't break the system, make sure that everyone's contributions will build successfully and pass testing successfully. That's the goal of having the CS system in place. We're just at the beginning. At this point, we've got this website, it runs on a server, and it shows us the result. So right now I push a get change, it builds, it shows the result. I have to go to this site and reload the page until I see the result pop up here. And that can take a couple of minutes. I don't really want to do that. If I had to do that every time, I might as well just build it on my own machine and wait and look at the result. So I want some kind of notification system. Basically I want to pop up. I want something to grab my attention when the build is over and let me know if it passed or failed. So there's a few different ways we could approach that. Hydra supports notifications in a certain way. Notification daemon. So Hydra notify process does stuff when builds are finished. That's all I really know about it right now. If we take a look, I have the Hydra source code, including the manual. We can search for this Hydra notify thing. So it exposes metrics on Prometheus, which could be interesting. Prometheus will put metrics into Graphite or Grafana, which I'm running, so it's an option. Notifications. So I'm not real clear on what this does. This runs as a service. Hydra has lots of services that run on the server. Hydra notify is one of those. We could take a look at the journal and see what it has. See what kind of messages it shows us. So not too many logs. Then again, we haven't been doing so much in the last few days. So let's look at everything. Oh, yeah. Thank you for the follow. Let's look at stuff for the whole month of December. We're just exploring. We're going to look at the Hydra notify logs and see what kind of stuff it does. On December 12th, there was a problem, apparently. I remember that. The Hydra server wasn't responding. I had to restart it. Alright, so we go from 17 to 21, December 17, 21, 22. Impressive build logs, not too much other meaningful log messages, so that doesn't help too much. Let's look more into the manual. Notifications are passed from the queue runner to Hydra notify. So there's these different types of messages. And this is what we want, build finished. We want to know when the build's done and the results. So how do we use it? We can get email notifications. So this is a possible avenue. There's one more search result in the manual. So this would be your general hook to Hydra notify, it looks like. You can write a plugin, or a plugin exists that will run any command you want after a build finishes. So we could get notifications that way. Desktop notifications would be nice. I've got to run a desktop notification daemon, but I don't do too much with it. But we can type notify send in the terminal and get a pop-up notification with any text. I do use it occasionally and I'd like to use it more. I'm not quite sure how we would do this since the Hydra server is a different machine. I'm not quite sure how we'd get it to a local workstation notification. Alright, Mishras. Have a good work day. Talk to you later. Thanks again for the resub. So I can kind of conceive of how we can use this run command thing, like that can run in the server. There can be a service there that emits a kind of event. There can be another on the workstation that's listening for that event over the network. And then the service on this workstation, when it gets that event, could run notify send, something like that. That sounds like a lot of work, relatively speaking. Email notifications is interesting. I could get an email to the email address that I use on the workstation. And then if we can get a notification daemon that can listen for certain emails, like emails filter by subject, and then do notification based on that. Because I don't want notifications for every email coming in. That would be distracting. So I want to filter Hydra's emails to desktop notifications for it. So out of our obvious options, that looks like the one to pursue. So let's look into it a little bit. This might be kind of tricky to stream because I don't want to expose passwords and personal details, but we'll kind of figure it out as we go. I'm using neomutt as my mail client. I search for notifications. I get some results. This is the neomutt website. So we got a few different possible applications that could show us notifications for unread mail. Not much I'm familiar with. It's a program that indexes mail and can work with neomutt, should be able to. But let's take a look at all of these. Notify OSD. So this doesn't have anything to do with neomutt. It's just a desktop notification daemon, so I guess this is here for completeness, but we'd have to integrate it with neomutt somehow. So notify notmuch sounds better. This one looks like it will it'll watch IMAP box. Which that will work fine. Let's look into the manual and the features a little bit. This is definitely more than we need. Ayatana? I guess that's how I'm going to pronounce that. Ayatana. This kind of, what it looks like it does is almost bring a, like sort of integrates webmail into the desktop, but not quite a web, or not quite a client. But kind of a dashboard for a webmail system, which is kind of interesting, but a lot more than what we want, I think. So let's look at the notify notmuch. Spectrum branch, thank you for the lurk. Enjoy finishing. Displays desktop notifications for unread mail in the notmuch database. So this is pretty much what we're looking for here. If I'm thinking of the simplest way to achieve this, this looks good. Notifymuch. So let's see if this is in Nix packages. It is. So I'm kind of thinking about how I'm going to approach this, particularly because I want to stream it, but I don't want to expose passwords and personal information. But it seems like the approach would be to, and again, the goal is to get these build results from Hydra and get notifications from them. Success or failure whenever build completes for any project. Hydra notify service can send an email when a build is done. So I'm thinking the approach is let Hydra notify do that. And then in the workstation, this notifymuch program can watch the incoming email and give us a desktop notification when the subject line matches whatever Hydra sends. So let's see what that might take. First of all, how do we get Hydra to send these emails? We can turn it on globally, which I think is what I want. It'd be nice. So, back it up a little bit to explain this. On on this workstation, I have email in the form of Maildir. And Maildir is mailboxes mapped to files, basically. Folders and files in your file system. So every email is a file. Neomutt uses that. Notmuch uses it also. It'd be kind of nice if we could get Hydra to write those emails into a file, so we didn't have to mess with the server part yet. Not sure if we could do that easily though. But I guess what we could do is just fake it. Fake a Maildir. And success and failure build messages. And use those mocks. We could use those to implement the desktop notifications. So let's try that. So we'll make an empty Maildir, create a couple of messages in there, get notmuch to index that, and go from there. I already have notmuch installed, and that's using my real email, so I need to figure out how to get it to use like a fake database for this. So here's the notmuch documentation. We can see if we can find something to do that. Config file. Config file does not specify the database. Scratch that, it does. Okay, so I'm going to make a new notmuch config for this directory. I just did that and I will test it. Seems to work, but we don't have any mail in here. So let's make a couple of test messages. So I'll probably do that by just copying a existing message from my mailbox. Sorry, I can't show it. I just got to remove personal information. So I copied one over. I'm just going to remove everything that's in it basically except the email headers. This one's HTML. I want a text. I want a text message. So I'm going to look harder. Hopefully Hydra will send plain text emails. What's a MIME type for text? Text/plain? Yep, okay. Found one, so copying it over. And now just replacing the content, removing sensitive info and all that. So I'm replacing the subject and body. Once I check, make sure it works, I can show you. All right, so now we got an email. Got to figure out how to get notmuch to show us that email or find it. This would be our inbox that we're working with. And I think it should tag all the messages of the inbox tag. Yeah, okay. I think we can work with this. So not much. Index the message. Here it is. And we can open it in the text editor. So we use this as kind of our mock and change it into a message from Hydra. Fake message from Hydra. This was an Amazon message. So these headers probably don't matter. We'll filter on from field. Adam White 7077, welcome in. Okay, so we didn't configure Hydra to send these yet, but we expect something kind of formatted like this. It'll probably have the project name, the evaluation number, and then the build number. So let's get that into our fake message here. Adam Wyatt, glad to have you here for any reason. The gist of it is, the software that I work on, we get these status updates. If it builds successfully, compiles successfully, we get a check. Otherwise, we get an X. I'm trying to make it so I get a notification here on my desktop for either one of those. That is what we're working on today. So we got fake message number 1. Let's make fake message number 2 and make that success. So we just got to copy the file and change the file name. This first field is the Unix time. This is a unique ID, I think. So we can just change the time, increment the unique ID, and I think that does it. Except not quite. Hmm. So it's not picking up this new message. Let's change the contents though. Maybe just look into the file name and somehow determining that it's the exact same. That doesn't work either. So I'll just take another unique email from my primary mailbox rather than try to figure this out. How do we get not much to show all mail? Hi, Mirig. Good day to you. I copied it with another unique message to use for the test. I'm starting to feel like this won't work, but... Or is more hassle than it's worth, I guess I should say. But let's see. No Bob mutes, nice. Where did you learn that? Where did you hear that? The Retro Runner, okay, interesting. I've heard otherwise. Well, maybe that wasn't covers, but actually original music. When played would be muted. I think Gray Skull mentioned that. I did the highlight from the Streets of Rage 2 VOD. I did that this morning, and some of that was muted. I didn't look to see what it was. It may have been the mix I was playing in between on breaks. Okay, so we got 3 messages in here. I'm trying to get the not much show utility to show all of them. Let's try search. Okay, we got success. Sort of. So we just need to change this other message bit. This came from eBay originally. So we'll change this to Hydra also. Okay, almost good enough. We'll just change the subject of this one. We'll say, we'll call this build 200 and say, hey, success. And so we actually have to remove notmuch's database to do this. That may be the reason it wasn't working. So we'll just augment our command line to do this every time. Good. So these are our mock emails from Hydra, specifying build success or failure. And our next task will be to get this notmuch notify thing to pick these up and give us a desktop notification based on them. So let's take a look at this notmuch notify documentation. Or notifymuch, that's what it's called now. So we'll do that next. I'm going to take a short break. I'll be back in just a few minutes and we'll continue. Let's keep going. If you're just joining, what I'm working on is taking results from the Hydra build server here and converting them to not email notifications, but desktop notifications through email. Thanks for the WB Spectrum. I got a Maildir with a couple of messages here. Just for testing, these aren't actually from Hydra. We want to try this notifymuch program. We want it to pick those up. I'm going to look for this configuration file here. So we're using this alternative configuration file for notmuch. We need to be able to pass this to notifymuch somehow. Documentation is very sparse. Let's look at some source code. Let's really look at some source code. Notmuch config is the name of the configuration file, the default name. No results. This might just call notmuch. From notification import show notification. And we need to be looking in here. I have a Clippy. I really like it. Merchant Bagon, welcome in. Happy New Year, it's great to see you. So one of the well-known problems with text interfaces is discoverability, right? So the Clippy in this editor is fairly nice for that kind of thing. Shows you the arguments to your commands and stuff. Yeah, they were good. How about yours? Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that, but happy you got to spend 2 days with her, or 2 Christmases. All right, enjoy dinner. It looks like this notifymuch package uses a package called notmuch in Python.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blank 1.
Okay, we're going to clone this. We're going down the source code rabbit hole a little bit here. So this is the initialization. This is presumably where we would pass in the name of a configuration file. And it doesn't look like this notifymuch program does that. Let's take a look. Okay, this package supports adding a path where we could send an alternate configuration file. Not much notify much. It doesn't use that, but it looks like we can potentially specify it with an environment variable. So let's try that. It pays to read the source code. It more than pays, it's more or less essential. Gotta read the source code for the stuff we use. I do anyway. And that appears to work. So we run notifymuch. Print summary doesn't show the notification, but shows us the query. And we get a result here, one of our messages. So let's continue. So by default, it's going to show us notifications for unread mail or whatever. So it creates this configuration file, so let's take a look at that. When a message is shown in a notification, it's marked as recently seen, not shown again for 2 days. Configurable. How do we configure it? That's probably this, recency interval hours. So if we set that to 0, does it always show everything? Yeah, looks like it. Okay, progress. How do I mark this? So I want these both to be unread for the test. How do we mark it? That may be something that's in the Maildir spec. Flags? S scene. That might be what we're looking for. So remove the S. Rebuild. Okay, they both show in red. And they both show up in the notification. So that is what we want. Let's see if we can make the text bigger. So text size may be actually something that's a configurable setting on the notification daemon rather than notmuch or notifymuch, because my test notification is really small also. So what are we using? Let me figure out what our notifications is. Can't remember. Dunst and libnotify. So let's get you visibility. This is what we're using to show the desktop notifications. I really don't use this for anything. This is my first need. I really need this. I have some other ideas, like sometimes I miss basically this use case here that is being shown. Sometimes I miss something important up here in the status. So getting an extra notification would be good there. Another thing, long running stuff. So building a long build or an upgrade to NixOS can take a lot to build. And I normally have to go and have a terminal window open and remember to go check on that. So integrating a notification for that would be good too. But anyway, this is the first use case that we really can't move forward without. So Dunst. We are probably using the default configuration. Let's see how to configure it. Here's the man page for the configuration file. Which, searching the home directory, it doesn't look like we have one. Will it respect the location in XDG config? It should. Yes, okay. That's the validation I was looking for. This page explains the configuration options. Let's look at the example config file. This is what's in the what's installed in the distribution. So it's like an INI format or TOML. Okay, so that's what the format is. And let's just copy this one over to the custom config location and make sure it works. So that's where it's going. I don't know if it did anything or not. Let's try to change something. So yeah, let's like change the height of the window. Whoops, I need to make this writable for us. Doesn't pick it up. So this may run as a daemon that needs to be restarted somehow. I'm going to flatten this. This page shows us how to use it, generally. Okay, we got this dunce control thing. So I don't know whether the relationship is between like libnotify and dunst, or notify send. So let's make sure we have a surface level understanding of that. So libnotify, I suppose, is the notification, the general notification daemon provided by gnome. So any number of notifiers can probably use that somehow. And notify send, I guess, is the generic. Just like the test utility provided by libnotify, maybe. Let's see if we can figure out what package provides it. Yeah, libnotify. Okay. So that's probably a really general utility that's not really configurable. Okay, so we got this dunce control thing. So here's the main manual. Started by dboss when a notification is sent. So what's the proper way to restart it? I don't know. Let's just kill it and see what happens. So we did that. Still doesn't pick up our change. It doesn't look. But this is maximum height, I just realized. Okay, so that time it did work. But we do have to kill it. So how do we restart the server? Easily. Also, where's the manual for this Dunstify binary? Alright, we'll just kill it. We'll just do pkill dunstify high. So that should kill the running process every time we change something. Yep, okay. That's fine. I probably should have just done that in the first place, but I wanted to know. Where's our font size? Monospace 8. So let's try 14. These don't take up too much space for very long. You know, we only do build maximum every 10 minutes or so. So we don't really have to worry about the size. I'd rather have something much bigger and more visible. And we'll make it wider so more text can fit. So here's a search from notmuch. This is like the from field, I think. The from header in the email. This is the subject. When we get the notification, it takes the subject and puts the from here and then the date. And actually, let me fix those dates so it shows it. Just so it shows the right thing. We'll just put them both today. This probably. We might actually look into email headers in a minute here, because I actually don't know anything about them. Thursday, January 4th, 2024. I'd be surprised if it's this stuff, because this looks like part of the address, the return address. But we changed them on. It's not showing up. I won't spend too much time with it because it's not that important right now, but I'm curious. Oh, also I have two files. Oh. I need to close these because I renamed them. That will remain a mystery for now, and I'll look into it later. We'll move on for now. Okay, now let's see if we can customize the content. I want it to be on one line ideally, although we can probably make the window wider to accommodate that. Yeah, okay, so we'll do that for now while we look into it. So I want a briefer message here. I want it to be really easy to see what's important. And if this isn't easily customizable, then I'll probably do it later. So let's take a look at the source code again for notifymuch. When we print the summary on the command in the terminal, it's exactly the same as what shows up in the notification. So this whole deal, messages summary, that's probably what creates it. Probably used for showing the notification too. So let's take a look at that. So we got this class. Notification, notifymuch notification run. Run is not provided here. It's provided by GIO application. What is that? GI. I'm going to look on PyPy for what GI is. PyG object. PyG object is a Python package provide bindings for G-object based libraries, such as GTK and so on. Okay. Got it. So this is basically some kind of GNOME application, I guess. So run probably then delegates to like unactivate here, and that's probably what's going on. So I don't have to care about what GI is really. Okay, yeah, back to messages. So let's take a look at messages. Initialize the database. Summary, self-messages, query search messages. That's a not much thing. So not much has a method called search messages. The results go to wherever. Wherever. I'll clarify that in a second once I understand it. Unseen summary. Unseen messages, probably filters. It looks like it just filters what not much returns. Then summary takes the list of messages and does this number, formats them. And the formatting is not customizable. So if we want to customize this, we have to modify the notifymuch package. Probably not today, but I would like to. So that's what we get for now. So how do we get this thing to monitor? Because we run it once, it does a thing and then exits. We need it to continuously monitor. It forks and stays in background while notification is active. So this doesn't run as any type of daemon. So basically we'll need, on the operating system side, in NixOS configuration, we'll need to configure a service to run this every few seconds. Or every minute or whatever. And it actually has to run notmuch also to update that database. So I'm just taking a second to think about where I want to take it from here. We could write this services. But let's think it through first. So we'll just come up with a small flowchart. So we'll have one service to run notmuch and update its database. We'll have another service to run on notifymuch. Let us know if anything came in. Then we change Hydra to send emails. And that's basically our workflow. So it seems pretty simple. So the way I kind of want to go forward with it is continue to use this fake email thing. It would be nice to have a small script to just create a new message every few seconds. That would let us test our services. Let's take a look at the Hydra notify email functionality again. Alright, yeah, I'm just going to assume this works for now. If I were doing this on stream, I would probably set this up first. I like to kind of, I don't know, validate each of the pieces before working on putting them together. But it's probably fine, and even if not, I'll work around it. So we'll skip that for now. Let's try to write a script that will periodically create new messages. Maybe. I don't know. Let me think about it for a few minutes. I will take a quick break. And I'll come back and I'll figure out what we're going to do. I'd like to do a little research. Since I was trying to change some of the fields in the emails and have not much pick them up. And having some confusion there. I kind of want to look into the format of email headers. This is something I'm not real familiar with, but it'll help us next time. Next time we have to deal with email. So I know enough to know here's the message. Content type is declared. I assume this is headers. I'm not sure. From to, reply to, and stuff. But let me see if I can find a specification for it. RFC 5322 Internet Message Format. This might be it. I found at least one helpful search result. What happened? This page disappeared. Internet message format, I think this is it. This is the specification of email messages. We'll look through this a little bit. This is more than we want to know for sure. But let's see if we can pick out good stuff from it. Messages are viewed as having an envelope and contents. So for anyone that's never looked at this kind of thing before, when you open an email in your email client, you normally see your subject and your text. Most email clients have somewhere an option to view headers. Gmail has one for sure, I know I've done it. Almost any client would, because occasionally an end user must be able to get the headers. For troubleshooting purposes or whatever. So our email files that we're working with are in that format where all the headers are followed by the message contents. And I'm going to know what all the headers mean, which ones are essential for use, which ones are maybe optional, just used by the person sending the email to try to track you or whatever else. So that's why we're here. Section 2 lays out general description of a message and its constituent parts. So we want to be in section 2, I think. Each line of characters must be no more than 998 and should be no more than 78 characters. Which, yeah, all these, none of these are long lines. Well, that one is 150 characters, but most of them are fairly short. Header fields are lines beginning with field name, colon, field body terminated by carriage return and line feed. Field name must have only printable US ASCII characters. So that's like letters, numbers, and a few symbols. So all these are fields. Characters, colon, more characters, end of line. So then fields are followed by the body. That's lines of US ASCII characters. That's the message content. Here are some general data structure definitions. You would use them. You would probably use them in more than one field. Ordering is not guaranteed. Fields can be in any order. Header fields should not be reordered when the message is transported. It's interesting. So once the field order is determined at the origin of the message and shouldn't be changed when it's forwarded or copied or whatever. Only required header fields are the origination date field and originator address fields. And these look like all the fields. And then their descriptions. Okay. Let's take a look at all the fields here. Because I already see a lot more than is in this RFC. Alright, so they're not all here. Some of these specify like blocks of fields. Because this return path is specified down here. So we might kind of have to hunt for things. But like this one, X original 2 is not specified. So what's going on there? Presumably a custom field used by the sender. Or maybe like an X prefix, some kind of convention that can be used in multiple fields. I don't see that here. I'm finding information on how it's used, what it's used for. And it looks like some of them may be de facto standards. So not standardized, but used by a lot of different mail transport systems. Like this came up in my search results. X originating IP de facto. And X forwarded for. So maybe X just means it's a header that's not standard. Let's see if we can confirm that maybe. X headers are custom. Okay. So RFC 822, which is it's the RFC that predates this one. The one that we're reading specified that headers beginning with X would never be part of any standards, so they can be custom application specific stuff. They've been deprecated since then. So anything starting with an X we know is de facto standard or application specific. What are all those? There are a few of them in all these messages. Message ID original 2. And like, yeah, Amazon stuff. So you see a lot of these are like, these are origin specific. So let's start deleting these and see if they mess around with our database here, our mail database. Just for fun. Still shows up. This is good to know, so next time I have to do this, creating test messages, I may be able to make it a lot easier on myself. So yeah, delete all the X headers. Everything still works here. So let's see if we can figure out how it picks up, say, the date, which I wasn't able to figure out how to change. Maybe though, instead of reading through the spec, let's search for some of the headers. See what it says about them. Return path. Trace fields, optional return path field. So it says it's optional. It doesn't say anything about what it is, what it does. So we can guess at that, but it may be, and sometimes you get from addresses that aren't real. Maybe this is more of a real address or indicates a server that it came from. I don't know. Let's try deleting them from our test messages and see what happens. Fine, okay. Delivered to, let's check that out. No result. We'll come back to it. Received. Received is also a trace field. You can have one or more received fields, so I'm guessing this is routing through different mail servers. They're all maybe adding a received field as they forward the message. We remove them, everything still works fine. No authentication results, we'll come back to it maybe. No received SPF. No DKIM stuff. Reply to is specified. Reply to is optional. Message ID. Every message should have a message ID field, although it is optional. What's it do? Identification. Contains a single unique message identifier. Okay, so the spec wants us to have a message ID field, which is a unique identifier for the message. So Amazon's was structured like an email address. Message ID intended to be machine readable and not necessarily meaningful to humans. Makes sense. And this looks like a UUID or something similar to that. Some kind of calculated large unique identifier. Yeah, it's not very interesting to us, so we'll move on. Subject, I don't think we'll be surprised, but let's see. Let's see how it's specified. Optional, informational. I'm version. I'm surprised by this. My version isn't in this RSC. This stuff would be needed to deliver a multi-part message. So like this original message was, I think, both HTML and plain text. So this may be specified elsewhere in another RFC. If so, I want to find it. So yeah, let me see if we can find this. RFC 8551 multi-purpose MIME extensions. That seems to specify some of these fields, but not all of them. Okay, MIME is specified in several RFCs. So MIME version specified here. Content type. Now this may be good enough. We might actually not need to find the RFC. So let's just read this. And I'm kind of familiar with this part of it, the content type, from using it in other applications, but I don't really remember it. Let's take a look. Multi-part. So if it's multi-part, then we have more than one part in the message. So one application being like if it has both text and HTML versions in the same message, and your mail client decides which one to render. Alternative, and that's basically exactly what I just said, and what we have here. Is it required? Probably not. In fact, almost certainly not. Because yeah, these are valid. The MIME stuff isn't specified as required fields. So MIME's extensions, you can leave it out, nothing bad happens. As long as you don't need it, that is. content transfer encoding we have. Methods for representing binary data in formats other than ASCII text. So encoding looks like it specifies a method by which we represent, say, binary data as ASCII characters. I'm not sure about that. What's the RSA say about legal characters? I think it was kind of saying US ASCII is the only thing that can be in the email. Okay, yeah, but only in MIME extensions. Okay, so when MIME comes into play, you can use characters outside of US ASCII range, but the base email specification says you can only use ASCII characters. Multi-part message contains a boundary in the header field. That's this guy. So that says when this part ends. So that part is all this, or all this, I guess. Interesting to know. For test messages, we don't need it, so I should be able to delete all this stuff. Like that. Like that. And we can still get the message indexed, however, the state is now wrong. Okay, so it was using the date inside the MIME. The date is only specified inside this. So I guess you can have a standard header inside a MIME part. Let's try taking it out. Then doing what we just did. And I'm still perplexed here because it's still showing 2021. I don't know, let's just try it again. Oh, is that other message? Okay. So I take all this stuff out, run it again. This date is now missing. Pull the date out, put it above the from field instead. Do the same thing, take out the mine stuff. The date's back. Now what happens if we change the date? Thursday, 4th of January, 2024. Today, okay, that's what we want. Okay, so now what's going on here? With the other message, remove mine stuff, pull date out. Oh, we have one more message, that's why, because it's... Yeah, it's this one instead. Okay, I'm getting it. That's good to know. Let's search for these real quick. Delivered to authentication result to see if those are specified anywhere. They're probably in a separate RFC. I'm just curious. I didn't know that the different headers for the email message format were split up into several different RFCs. There's an RFC 7601 that specifies that one header. We got this third email here, so we'll just start pulling stuff out like we did before. So I'm going to pull this MIME stuff out of this message now. Let's see what this other stuff is. Received SBF, DKIM signature. SPF. Sender Policy Framework. Experimental protocol, not a standard of any kind. So it seems to be for like validating that a message that says it's from somebody is actually from that person. Something like that. What about DKM? I'm guessing these are all similar concepts. Authenticated receive chain. Yeah, so for somebody just messing around with email, this is all pretty boring stuff. Not so interesting to me, but it is kind of interesting to know what kind of extensions people have made to the email specs. DKIM signature. Domain keys identified mail. Another identity verification thing. Was delivered to in here? No. There is an RFC for it though, 9228. So delivered to used when the email address, the final delivery address is different than any of the other header fields created by the creator. So I guess an example of that would be like forwarding address. So if this address forwards to a different email address that I own. There are date changes when we change that date. List help. Let's see what list help is. And I can tell what it is just by reading it, but how is it specified? I'm finding a lot of information on it, but not a specification. Never mind, found it. RFC 2369, the use of URLs as meta syntax for core email list commands. So it specifies how to use email addresses for things like unsubscribe. So it is specified, that's why there's no X in front of it. So all we had to do to make test emails was this. And I don't even know if we had to do all these. But for notmuch to give us results, we had to do all these. Anyway, that was a very into the details digression for this, but I think it'd be valuable to have that knowledge. So this is a good start on this project. It's kind of a mini project, shouldn't take long. But this is a good start. Essentially where we got, it's just wrapping up, recapping. We've got this Hydra server set up to automatically build the operating system. Whenever we push a commit, the website will show the status of this build, succeeded or failed. Right now it's just compile step. But what I really want this for is tests, automated tests. Keep track of which builds break those tests. So I don't have to wait for them every time I make a change. That's kind of the long-term goal, but one of the things we really need out of this is to be able to get pushed notifications on a fail, because I don't want to have to look at the website. It breaks the workflow. I want to continue working. Tell me if there's a problem. Otherwise, don't do anything. So Hydra is going to send us an email, and then we have this notifymuch utility. Notifymuch is going to receive those emails, filter them, and in the case that came from Hydra here, the CI server, it'll give us a desktop notification and say, hey, your build failed. That way I know what change broke something, and then I need to stop working to go back and fix it, or at least understand why it broke. So we kind of verify that all the parts work, and all I got to do now is just put them together. Next step there is to create some system services to run the notmuch indexer and the notifymuch program. I just run them every few seconds, every 10 seconds probably. 30 seconds. They don't seem to be very resource intensive. Hi Lou1SXLITT. Let me know what pronunciation of your name you prefer. Welcome in. Nice to see you. I think that'll be it for us. It's a good stopping point. Good progress. Good first stream of the year. Kind of getting back into the swing of things. I will be back with a programming stream next Tuesday. And that would be the next one, unless I decide to do something bonus. Besides that, I'll be back with my normal gaming streams tomorrow, Friday night, and Monday evening. So I appreciate you being here. Let's see who's on for a raid. I don't know too many people in the category yet, so I don't follow too many people we can raid with this stuff. Nope, so let's see. Let's search the category. Salty catfish. List nearby Wi-Fi networks of Python. That could be interesting. Wow, lots of programmers on right now. Lots of programmers on right now. I don't know how to decide, so I'm going to kind of just do it randomly. TypeScript game dev. Let's go. Rub it up TV. We're going to head over there. Once again, thank you, everybody. I hope to see you again sometime. Have a good one.